Our Maximus Analysis here for August 6th, 2015. We see we've broken the the 2080 area, and right now they would need to regain this 2110 area, or we're going to see continued follow through. And the biggest thing, again, we said yesterday that we wanted to see if there was going to be continued follow through to the downside. Now, we want to make sure that we're looking at things holistically. So let's look at the hourly, and you can see that they came down in 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, and they're up in 4 bars. So you see that we still have the continued weakness. So again, a break below this low of about a 2076 would be a good sell signal, and see if they continue to the downside. Now, the midpoint is around this 2085. Now, if they can regain this 2092, then we would say, okay, now we have this V bottom craziness that we've been having a lot of times. We won't rule it out. But again, you can see just even basic bar counting analysis should be used to say, okay, they came down in 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, 1, 2, 3, 4 bars up, not even 25%, or if 25% at most, they've gotten into it as well. But again, the volume is going to decrease based on the close of today. You have the YM. Again, a lot of people are looking at the, they call it the death cross. I think they call it basically the 50 crossing the 200. I say look at all this stuff, and then if you want to throw that on after, that's fine. Because again, we've been saying that things have been looking weary, versus now all of a sudden you just see 2 moving averages cross, and all of a sudden it's hell to pay. But again, Disney continued down, but came back pretty strong. But again, this is still a very, very broken chart unless it regains around that 17,900 level. So you have the NQ. NQ again is breaking out, so we don't know if it continues down. We can say this is a false breakout. If it continues up, it will be layering against support. So this is the strongest one out of them all. But again, a lot of these big tech names have been, I mean, when I say they've been throwing them in the air, they threw Google in the air, they threw Netflix in the air, they threw Amazon in the air. Tesla got beat up a little bit, but again, not nothing crazy. But again, when they have a proper pullback on those names, those will affect this index. So we want to be careful regarding that. IWM again broke down nicely. Again, the sell signal did hold from here, and the stop above here would have held, and they're continuing to the downside with increasing volume. Because remember, we said the lower bottom, now they have the increasing volume to the downside. Only thing we have to be aware of, sorry for sounding like this, I have a little cold, is option expiration day tomorrow. So they could hold it up just to see if they, a lot of people might have bought weekly calls. Again, the weekly calls are actually to help the market makers make more money versus us as retail traders. So just look at it like that. Apple, just minor selling volume here, but an inside bar of this. Again, this stock needs to get back over this 122 area to be comfortable with it. Google, again, came back, and it actually reversed pretty good today. We'll see how it follows through if it gets above this 680 area to continue to the upside. You had Netflix. Again, it wasn't bad at all, showed some relative strength. But again, when they do have their retracement, which is necessary, what will it do with that index? So even if they had something very similar to this type of retracement here, so that's about a 10% retracement. So if they had a 10% retracement here, which wouldn't be bad, it would layer above this top. But what would that do to the NQ is probably the bigger and better question that we have. So crude continued downtrend, but I'm expecting a turn from this at least. It's been down so many days. Again, around this 44.75 level that, again, a pop up would be just warranted just because of how oversold it is. You had the gold, again, barely popping. Again, that doesn't mean that, again, a break of this high, it would just be a proper retracement. It's not to say that, it's what area it's going to pop to. But again, if it popped to this area, that's just a healthy retracement. It's not a bottom. So you got the bonds, excuse me, popped up a little bit today. You have Priceline. Again, they threw this one in the air, and we got to kind of see how much retracement, if it has any. Even again, like I said, if it mirrors this type of retracement, even a 5 to 6% retracement is not bad, and this would be very healthy layering above these previous highs. But what would it do to the index? So that's what we kind of got to see. here and how much juice they have left. You had Tesla from yesterday. Again, it gapped down, held pretty well. If we kind of break it down into a 15-minute chart for intraday, you can see that it kind of gapped, fell down really hard, then just pretty much just floated for the rest of the day. So I wouldn't look at this as any relative strength. I would just have to see a better setup, being that it's broken some key support levels that we see, basically around this time frame right here. So around here, you can see that this was something that was broken, layered, and now broken with these highs down. So we want to see how much juice, again, it has on the retracement when it happens to potentially short into. So again, let's look at the dollar. Excuse me. Sorry again for the way I sound. Dollar, again, we have to see if it continues to the up. We still have the pivots. You kind of have to still respect these pivots that we have. And more dollar strength means more gold and oil going to the downside. So again, we'll play it from there. Just make sure that we'll see what's going on. Again, a lot of people were looking at the Disney, and again, Disney, this is a hammer pattern, but again, it's how much juice it has to flag back in. Because if we look on the weekly, we can see that, again, it's made a huge, it basically wiped out about, 8 weeks? Let's do a little bar count here so we can kind of see what's going on. So we have 9 weeks of data, or 9 weeks of price action completely wiped out in this one bar. So again, don't look at it to say, it has to pop back up, because if it pops back up, what's the volume? And it could be some continued downside. So be cautious of that, and always look at those things. But again, you want to look at these higher bottoms here, here, and even here. And just if you want to, you say, listen, and again, if you're a trend follower using the weekly, you would want to see at least this price be broken, close below. And then the second one would be this one. And then after it gets to around 91, you would say, okay, as far as, I don't know how long you would have been holding. But again, these are the pivots that you want to see hold if you're going to continue to look at this as a long-term investment. So again, take care, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Have a great one.